Coming up this hour, latest Afrobarometer report by the Center for Democratic Development indicates there has been a sharp surge for demand of bribes in exchange for public services.
Also this afternoon, health personnel at the Tashi Hospital hit the streets to demand installation of speed ramps and a footbridge along the Akuapem-Mampong-Accra highway due to frequent knockdown of pedestrians.
Plus, renewed chieftaincy conflict in Baku begins to take a toll on business activities as the Greek Development Bank joins a long list of businesses who are shutting down operations.
That's how we do on a Friday. It's mostly fun and action-packed. I am Mawina Igbeta.
And I am Kemeni Amano. The news starts right now.
Now, this afternoon, more and more citizens say they have had to pay bribes to access public services, according to the latest Afrobarometer report. Of the many who had public services, including the police and obtaining legal documents, more than 50% of them say it has not been easy forcing them to pay bribes in one way or the other. The development raises questions about the rise in corruption within public service agencies, and we'll engage an anti-graft campaigner shortly. But let's first walk you through the details of the study, where amongst many things, there is the big question about accessing public services. And the big question, one of the many questions had to do with accessing healthcare, amongst many other things. 53% said they had come into contact with public hospitals or clinics, but in terms of the ease in being able to access the services, 49% of them were the only ones who said that it was easy. In terms of getting access to identity documents, i.e. the Ghana card, passport, and the likes, 26% of respondents said they had sought or gone after acquisition of such identity document, with 39% of them saying that it was easy. In terms of requesting police assistance, 8% of the respondents said they had sought police assistance, while 37% of those who sought police assistance said it was easy, with the majority of them saying it wasn't. Now, back to the big question of paying bribes to receive services. That has seen an increase in terms of the number of persons who are having to pay bribes to receive services. And we'll start with obtaining police assistance. As at 2022, 45% of respondents at the time the survey was conducted said that they had to resort to paying bribes to be able to receive assistance from the police. As at 2024, that has gone up to 52%. In terms of obtaining an identity document as well, 28% said that they had to pay bribes as of 2022. That percentage has increased to 40%. Now, interestingly, a question was asked as to whether or not they pay bribes to the police to avoid problems. In 2022, 36% said they indeed were paying bribes to do that. That has increased by 2 percentage points to 38% in 2024. And the last is obtaining medical care. A question was asked as to whether or not they had to grease the palms of the health officials to be able to get access to health care. 14% as at 2022 said yes, they had to do that. That has increased to 19% as at 2024. And so let's subject this to a bit more scrutiny. Edam Senanu is a co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption. He's joined us via Zoom this afternoon. Mr. Senanu, I appreciate that you could speak to us. Does it really come as a surprise, the revelations in this document, knowing for a fact that public perception about the police, for instance, is high, that they are an institution that leads the way in terms of perceived as the most corrupt amongst many other things?
Well, not necessarily surprising. I mean, the figures are very much in sync with what we've seen in previous years. However, there are some places where the incremental change in terms of lack of confidence or trust or the level of corruption has been so substantive that it's extremely worrying that we seem to be declining at a much faster rate than one would expect under these circumstances. So not really surprising, but we seem to be getting into a fall, a major fall, which is not good enough.
A major fall which is not good enough. Of critical importance for some is the fact that people have had to pay bribes to be able to access health care. That surely, many say, is worrying and could spell possible doom if this trend continues.
Absolutely. I mean, healthcare is one of the areas where, I mean, so much of our lives revolve around our health. If the vulnerable, and typically you have many more people in the bracket where they struggle to have the kind of resources that allow them to pay their way through for these kind of services. So it would be extremely unfortunate if you had a situation where persons who are needing healthcare attention were not able to access it even at the basic level simply because some people expect certain additional costs, fees, bribes, call it whatever, to be paid. And this could affect any of us, including our relatives, and that's not good enough.
Staying on that subject matter and the entire perception about corruption with regards to institutions that have been listed, we know that the police has consistently sought to improve its image amongst many other things. They are working on that. We've heard about the other agencies. Let's stay with the subject of healthcare delivery and this revelation that's coming up. How and what should be done to begin to identify and address some of these challenges? Because like you've alluded to, if that becomes the norm, then the poorer people will not be able to get access to critical healthcare that they may need.
Well, the issue of corruption really is about the...
Oh dear, it does appear that the connection with Mr. Senanu has tapered just a bit. But let's try and walk you through those details again while we try and rework the connection with Mr. Senanu. And so that's on your screens right now. Access to public health, 53% said that they had access to a public hospital or clinic, with 49% of them saying it wasn't so easy. We know that also with regards to accessing identity documents, 26% said they had sought to obtain such documents. 39% were saying that, look, it was easy or very easy, which suggests that what? Nearly 60% or over 50% say that getting access to these documents as well was a bit of a challenge. Then we look at receiving assistance from the police as well. That also came up. But let's return to Mr. Senanu. Hopefully the connection with him may have improved. You were walking us through the challenge of corruption and how endemic it is.
Yeah. So I was saying that, I mean, it's about the interface. If the frequency of engagement is more, the likelihood that these events may transpire are higher. Now, what it is you either, for example, use technology to reduce that interface. So anything that has to do with the transactional monies that have to be paid gets onto an electronic platform, and then you save the people, unless, of course, that platform, as it were, fails to work. The other thing we ought to be doing, or should have considered, is having undercover agents. I mean, you should have either the police or some law enforcement agent where you have undercover people who are consistently going around these places, especially if it's health, go around the health posts, health facilities as ordinary citizens in plain clothes, test the system. let's flash out and arrest those fraudulent people who are taking advantage of innocent persons and trying to extort from them.
Right.
So there are things we ought to be doing and can do in order to deal with this menace.
As I said, we'll leave the conversation here and bring a bit more to you viewers at home as and when it becomes necessary. Edam Senanu is the co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption, speaking to us this afternoon on what many of you have been describing as a worrying trend of citizens having to grease the palm of health officials to get access to health care. We can bring you some more stories right now.
Indeed, we'll take you up north now, where business activities within the Baku municipality are being affected by the growing acts of violence and tension, which has characterized the area due to renewed chieftaincy violence, where nearly 20 people have already lost their lives. The Agricultural Development Bank, we are learning, has also shut its doors to customers, leaving residents with limited options in accessing financial services. Residents also lament the lack of adequate water supply from the Ghana Water Company since last week. Now, 2 individuals have tragically lost their lives in the ongoing Baku conflict, which has seen a rise in violence and unrest in the region. Well, now we can speak to our correspondent in the area. Castro Senyala is our correspondent in the Upper East region. He's joined us with a bit more on this development. Castro, good afternoon to you. Let's talk about the situation in Baku today. How is it playing out? Well, it would appear that our correspondent cannot hear us, but the situation in Baku, we understand, is driving businesses away. The latest in the list of businesses to close their doors in that area is the Agriculture Development Bank. We know the water company has also not been delivering services to the people there. Recently, surrounding areas were also affected by really when the Judicial Service also closes doors, for which reason hundreds of cases will have to be or have now been adjourned. Let's try our correspondent again. Tanko Muhammad Rabiu is our correspondent following this story. Tanko, good afternoon to you. Well, Tanko, if you can hear me, how is Baku this afternoon? Well, it appears Tanko cannot hear me. We'll now turn attention to other stories where we understand that health personnel at the Tashi Hospital are protesting to demand for the installation of speed ramps and a footbridge along the Ikuapem-Mampong-Accra Highway. Now, this demand comes in response to the tragic loss of a midwife from the hospital who was struck and killed by a speeding vehicle. The incident marks the 6th death, we understand, at that hospital. In a bit, we'll talk to Yvonne Nikwe, who is our Eastern Region correspondent. Right now, however, I want to take you back to that story. I am taking us back to that story in the Upper East Region, Baku to be precise, where we understand that businesses are quickly shutting down. Tanko Mohammed Rabiu is our correspondent following this story. Tanko, talk to us about the ADB situation. What else can you report?
Yes, thank you very much. As you are aware of the security situation in some time back, a lot of institutions, government institutions and private institutions
heard you.
Have suspended. Yeah, a lot of these institutions have suspended, and then the current one is the ADB Bank that has suspended its operation for the past 2 years. It's only ADB that has sacrificed to be there due to the irrespective of what has happened. But as a result of the current situation in Baku, we decided that we suspend the operation due to the tense, situation in that part of the country. So. This morning, the security made of the military and the police were there to ensure that the place is locked and key to, protect the bank from theft. So as I speak to you, the bank is not more working in Baku as I speak to you.
I see. But Tanko, so how are customers reacting to the closure?
Yeah, most of them that were not aware of the closure came to the bank this morning disappointed because most of them needed some money to take care of themselves, at least to take care of them throughout the weekends because of the security situation. But some of them said, though they have other alternatives in going to other branches, but because of the security situation on the road, they are not able to go because most transport operators are not available for them to take car to Bolga and other nearby places due to the security situation. So they are disappointed and then they are stranded as I speak to you because of their funds or their cash at the bank and other transactions that they were supposed to do at the bank this morning.
I see, Tanko. So, I mean, for those who need to transact business, those who need money from the bank, what have they been telling you about what alternatives there exist for them?
Yes, like I rightly mentioned, the alternative is for them to move from Baku to Bolga, that is the closest place, or other places like Garu and the rest. But because of the security situation on the road, they are not sure of their safety, and most of the transport operators are not even working. Before you can get, transport to these places that I've mentioned, like Bolga, you need escorts, and most of them say it takes them about 300 cities for them to get escorted out of Baku. That's what some residents told me, that before the military or the police escort them, they have to pay 300 Ghana cedis for them to be escorted from Baku to other places. So now that they don't even have money to get these services, how are they going to do? So most of them are stranded. They can't even move to any other branch of ADB to do their transactions.
From Baku to the neighboring communities where they can access service, how far is it?
Yeah, for example, from Baku to Bolga is about 2 hours journey, and other the Garu and the rest is about at least 1 hour 30 minutes, and then because ADB doesn't have these branches within the Baku area unless they come to Bolga to get access. So definitely the safest or the easiest route or main branch for them is the Bolga branch or Navrongo branch. If they have to go to Navrongo, it will take them like 3 hours. But Bolga, it will take them 2 hours from Baku to Bolga, and back is another 2 hours or 3 hours, depending.
I see. So that could be quite. That could be quite a journey for customers. We know that the other businesses that closed had said it was an indefinite closure. What is the case with ADB? Is it the same?
Yes, exactly. ADB sacrificed to be there when other banks or other financial institutions suspended their operations since the beginning of this year. But because of the way the situation is this time around, they have no option than to suspend their operations in Baku. So ADB, for now, what we are told is temporary closure of the bank. And when you go to Baku now, there's a lot of security at the bank guarding the place for safety.
I see. Tanko, do we know how many branches of ADB are there in Baku?
From what I know, it's only one branch that I know, which is within the township, which was closer to the old Barclays Bank. It's just closer to the old Barclays Bank. That's what I know that is in Baku for now. But other branches are outside Baku itself. That is Bolga, Navrongo, and then Sandima and the rest.
I see. Tanko, thank you.
Yeah.
Very well.
It doesn't have enough
Indeed, Tanko. Thank you so much for the report. And Tanko Muhammad Rabiu is Upper East Region correspondent.
Away from that, and health personnel at the Tashi Hospital are protesting to demand the installation of speed ramps and a footbridge along the Ikeapimampong-Accra highway. This demand comes in response to the tragic loss of a midwife from the hospital who was struck and killed by a speeding vehicle. The incident marks the 6th death from related accidents on the stretch. Yvonne Nikwe is my colleague who is following this development for us. Let's try and get an update from her right now in relation to the development. Yvonne, how frequent are these knockdowns? Yvonne, I'm asking how frequent the knockdowns are. Well, let's hear from some of the demonstrators who've been speaking to my colleague Yvonne Nikwe.
Na yɛhyɛ enipa ɛma ɔma yaresa na yɛma nipa motɔ na yɛdi akra no ɛnkwa no yɛmmom ana driverfo eku yɛn wɔ ha ɛnu nti yɛde nkrataa akɔma aban ɛne aban ɛna nsifo a ɛte sɛ wɔhyɛ na wɔyɛ speed ramps aboa yɛn sɛ na ɛbɛyɛ a obi yare no ɔba hospital a wɔbɛtumi atwa mu pɛpɛɛpɛ yɛayɛ saa deɛ yi yɛatwerɛ ho nkrataa mfirihyia anan ni ne nyinaa wɔntoa na mmɔm bia yɛtwa yɛawom kura ne sɛ bɛyɛ bosom abiɛsɛ atwa mu yi kaa bɔ obi ma ne fii mu wɔ ha yɛyɛ letter adekɔma regional minister sɛ ɔmmɔ highway fo ama ne na wɔmtumi mɛyɛ speed ramps man ɔka chance yɛbɛte ne nka yɛante ne nka ɛna ɛnɛ nansa yɛn nurse ni baako a wakɔ adwuma apɔn na ɔgyina ne baabi ɛnyɛ sɛ ɔtwa kaa kwan mu kaa atumi afi baabi aba bɛbɔ akum no because of speed adan bɔ ne bɛn no wayɛ ɛnu nti nea yɛka ne sɛ aban amoa ɛma yɛnyɛ nkwa a yɛbɛboa agye yɛn ho nkwa ɛnu nti yɛde yɛn nneɛma ɛbɛgu hɔ yɛnyɛ adwuma biem yɛma ɔnaawɔtwe sɛ aban ani si a yɛbɛtu yɛn fo yɛma ɔnaawɔtwe just one.
Let's try Yvonne one more time. Yvonne, well, we've been hearing from them and raising complaints about the frequent knockdowns. They say they have issued a 1-week ultimatum to government to have speed ramps fixed on the road. What happens if that's not done?
Well, they are vowing to lay down their tools of the ultimatum and the demand they've given to the Ghana Highway Authority is not given to them. They have been in a tight position today, considering the loss of their colleague and then the other members of their colleagues who have been knocked down on the street. They tell me that for the past 11 or 12 months of doing, a number of people accounting to 6 have been knocked on the road. Unfortunately, the lady was talking about Ruth died 2 days ago. And so they're hoping that the demands are met, else they will lay their tools down.
And authorities, what's been the response of authorities to these demands and the concerns of frequent knockdowns?
Well, in the midst of the protest, the Eastern Regional Minister, Seth Kwame Champo, and officials from the Ghana Highway Authority met with them to engage them. They're hoping that shortly they will provide a temporary, what we call a road strip, or possibly in the long term, a footbridge across the road, so that the pedestrians, hospital officials, and residents who use the street would be safe. Now, if you notice at Tashi Hospital, it's along the Ikeapimampong and Accra Street, right close to the road. Unfortunately, we're seeing this incident happen. We're hoping that the promise from the officials will be done for them.
Right then, Yvonne, many thanks for those details. That's my colleague Yvonne Nikwe speaking to us this afternoon in relation to the development. And away from that, we know that the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Joseph Owusu, he's rejected suggestions that the Supreme Court is interfering with the operations of Parliament after its decision to reject an application for a reversal of the ruling on the declaration of 4 vacant seats by Speaker Alban Baku. Now, during an interview with my colleague Kameni Amano on hot issues, the Bekwa MP insisted the Supreme Court has the legal authority to interpret every aspect of the Constitution.
That Speaker Bagbin was wrong in his decision to vacate the seats in the first place.
It does not lie in my mouth.
Well, I mean, you talked about Professor Michael Kwe while he was Speaker, and Honorable Chairman Sabonsu told him that he was wrong in vacating the Femina seat.
Chair told him in the chamber. If I were in the chamber, I probably would have suggested to him that he should look at it again. But it doesn't lie with me to make a pronouncement on whether he ought or ought not to, because frankly, I wasn't in the chamber. Everything I know is what I've read. And I think that the best solution is what has been offered, that the Supreme Court will pronounce on what is the law, and that should bring finality to the matter.
I mean, you're saying that, but some have argued that that will constitute interfering in the business of Parliament.
How?
Because
the business of Parliament. Sometimes I wonder how. Of course, when people are non-lawyers, you can pardon them. But I've read some lawyers make that argument, and I find it very strange. The business of Parliament is subject to the Constitution. Any power given to Parliament is subject to the Constitution. The rules, how we do our business, the Constitution says that subject to this Constitution, Parliament may regulate its own business. So whatever step we take within Parliament, as long as it does not infringe on the Constitution, nobody will interfere.
Remember, you can watch the full episode this Sunday at 2 p.m. here on TV3. Now, this afternoon, in a bid to ensure transparency in the upcoming elections, the Electoral Commission is today touring some printing presses with the media. The ongoing printing process is for only parliamentary elections, as the printing of presidential ballots have been put on hold following the death of GFP flag bearer, Madam Ekuya Donko. Is the back press printing press, where you know, the Electoral Commission has been one of the places where the Electoral Commission has been touring today. Director of Electoral Services Benjamin Barnobio has been speaking to the media. Let's take a listen.
Welcome to the Baku Press Printing House. Today, the Electoral Commission is showcasing to the world that when you say accountability and transparency in motion, you don't just say it, but we mean it. Electoral Commission of Ghana is one of the few election management institutions in the sub-region that prints its ballot papers in the country. And Baku Press is one of our major stakeholders when it comes to printing of ballots. For the 2024 general election, Baku Press is printing 4 regions: Ashanti, Oti, Central, and Savannah regions. Their ballot papers are being printed here. We are here to let you know that printing ballots is not done in secrecy. We open up to the public for you to know that we are doing it together with the political party agents. At every level, these agents are there, and they are observing to ensure that the right thing is done. They take copies of the serial range of numbers, they take copies of the quantities being printed for each constituency, and we give them all these details in the end. So printing ballots, they are with us, and they make sure that whatever we are packaged and is ready to be sent to our regions and our constituency, apart from the Electoral Commission seals, they also add their seals and take records of that. So, in printing ballot papers, there is no secrecy. It's so transparent. And as you see today, we will take you to the production levels. And
Benjamin Barnobio is Director of Electoral Services at the Electoral Commission of Ghana. You're watching News Central. We'll be right back with more news. Don't go away.
The 5 kg of rice has moved from 25 cedis to 165. Oh.
Hey! Boss, cement moved from 24 cedis to 105 cedis now.
Hey!
The kenke is 5 cedis. The fish I have 10, 15, and 20 cedis. Which one do you want?
Hey!
Stop the A.
Hey!
Vote for change. Vote for John Mahama and the NDC.
You know, 1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior. You know, 1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
All be lie.
Thank you, boss. See you next week.
Yo, where is my passport? Where is my passport?
Yo, man, I want to Waba.
What is that?
And then it's special.
Give me my passport.
Man, relax.
Relax. You made me pay for express for 24 hours, and yet it's not in.
You told me that you are telling me this. What's going on? Hello.
This man here has taken my money. That within 24 hours, he'll do my passport for me.
Oh,
see, that's
the same thing applies to me. He told me last night. He's telling me this week.
Process. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Oh, madam. Please relax. I'll get for you in 24 hours.
Hey, Goroma. So you never change? Eh? You get passport for someone within 24 hours, Madam Obwa. See, the normal working hours is 9 to 5. Eh? Not 24 hours, I'm fat. You guys have made a very big mistake by trusting these people. Now, through digitalization, passport application has been made so easy. Now, you don't need to stress yourself and join any long queue for your passport. All you have to do is to log on to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs website and begin your application.
Sir.
By buying a passport application voucher online. Simple and easy. And very soon, all you need to get your passport will be your Ghana card.
What is it true?
Obisa. It is possible.
Esuro. Vote number 1 on the ballot.
Papa Sammy, I beg if you find something small, give us.
Bro, Sammy, you see, nobody say boys no one do nothing and just they rely on handouts. Jobs to no deep.
I understand the hassle. Hope they come. John Mahama, they come do the National Apprenticeship Program. Where he go sort you guys.
Brother Sammy, waiting with that.
John Mahama knows say no be everybody we won't work for office. Like me.
That one day is true.
Under the National Apprenticeship Program, young men and women where they won't learn craft will be enrolled under the program and attached to a senior craftsman who will train them for free.
I beg you, mechanic day inside. Me like this, I don't want to learn mechanical, but the course no.
Mechanics day inside. Yeah. Organizing, dressmaking, fabric making, catering, hairdressing, tiling, painting. What they even sweet about this whole thing they say, when you plead, the NDC government go make sure say they go give you certificate where you go fit take go look for job anywhere. That's sweet.
Oh, that's be one waffle.
Another one waffle thing they say, when you plead, the NDC government go set you up with startup capital and equipment to make sure you can start your own business.
Wow! I dey go shopping my town wait 7th December.
Vote for change. Vote for John Mahama and the NDC.
This Sunday on Hot Issues.
Would you say that Speaker Bagbin was wrong in his decision to vacate the seats in the first place?
If I were in the chamber, I probably would have suggested to him that he should look at it again.
Is what we see today a failure on leadership?
We are demonstrating the worst part of us. For me, we are moving away from the values of Parliament.
Can we trust the current Electoral Commission to deliver a free and fair election?
Do we have any reason not to trust them?
Are you a violent man?
I'm generally not a violent man, but I'm fully in support of using whatever means to enforce the law.
Hot Issues shows Sundays at 2 p.m. on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
Welcome back to News Central. We're now entering your election command center. Well, we're going straight into it. We're flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Muhammad Obame. He's assured chiefs and people of Kenyasi number 1 and 2 in the Asutifi North constituency of fixing the Kenyasi and Hwidiem roads before the elections. He's also appealed to them to vote for him to address other challenges such as accreditation for a university and the completion of Agenda 111 projects.
Because in here, we did say Monday, regional minister on every meeting on it. Mesomedi, Mahama Obame, now you need GTech for no, I kasa so that you get to me accreditation no Abba, neighbor and a pay me who say contractor no Hwidiem to Kenya say kwano so ding NTB mobile say asphalt ever daso na ayetum amani na before ayeto aba na me contractor no yebeka sabat ejuma all no what say ordinary asphalt machine no aba NTB obebuko ta atoso amamo ebeye market no so contractor on it so in the day juma mosque no so marka no mobeti minka ebebu amo hoso any Islamic school marka no we na ninti na me pese bobu ami na me be manpenyi because me be manpenyi a let me do manpenyi efie wachi and you feel mind you are mesamba have you abebu akunta anyesa na manpenyi da the man wa baba no no we be mu ha okọ anu no onsa enko election bi on bebu akunta bi enti monfa sia no emmame na monfa ka no na enko woman sia no na enfa enko wala wo baby osini.
As the NPP's flag bearer, Dr. Baumia, speaking there, amongst many things, promising the people of Hwidiem that their roads will be asphalted and he will see to accreditation for a university, amongst many other things. Daniel Opoku is with the Vice President and NPP flag bearers campaign team. Let's touch base with him right now. Daniel, where is he now? What's he been saying? What's he been promising? How is the campaign looking like?
Right, so good afternoon to you, Marina. This morning, the Vice President began his campaign towards Kenyasi number 1 before he moved to number 2. And at Kenyasi number 1, he met with the chiefs where he told them the need for them to vote for him. He also told them about his major policy trying to support agriculture and also provide living allowances for the chiefs in case he wins power. Then right from there, he moved to Kenyasi number 2, the same message that he told them, the need for them to support him to win the elections and also be able to roll out his agricultural policies and also the need to be able to provide living allowances and wages for them. But the chiefs also raised some concerns. One has to do with the fixing of the Kenyasi and the Hwidiem road, where the Vice President renewed his commitment that that will be done before this year's election. So they don't at least a matter of 1 week for that exercise to be conducted, to be completed. Currently, there's a contractor on the road who has started fixing a portion of the road. Then there's also the university where the chiefs and the traditional leaders have asked the Vice President to be able to facilitate the process for them to get an accreditation. They have been able to do a lot of things. They have put together the university. They have also put together the hostel. Now what they are waiting for is for GTech to be able to give them an accreditation, which the Vice President has assured them to get GTech to be able to get them the accreditation. And right from Kenya, he has now moved to Hwidiem to have his Friday Juma prayers, where he's currently going to have his prayers. Then right after that, he will move to Bechem. Then onward to Derma. That's what he has been doing. We're doing throughout the day, meeting stakeholders. They're engaging the community, what we call community connect. They're speaking to the youth and promising them jobs in case he wins power.
Right then, Daniel, many thanks for those updates. That's Daniel Opoku, who is with the Vice President and NPP flag bearers campaign team, who are now, he tells us, at Hwidiem, where he will be engaged in Juma prayers with residents there in the Western North region.
Now, presidential candidate of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, has given the firm indication to use foreign and local investigative bodies to probe and recover all looted state property and funds. Addressing the NDC Good Governance Forum in Accra, John Mahama said his return to the Jubilee House next year as president will lead to the recovery of stolen state funds. Stanley Niblewu was at the forum and now reports.
The Nat Hall played host to the NDC Good Governance series attended by party supporters and electorates. Presidential candidate of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, took his turn to address the teeming grassroots supporters on aspects of the country's democratic governance and what the future NDC government will do to enhance it. The former president, who is seeking a comeback to power, expressed discontentment over how the governance architecture has deteriorated under the current dispensation and pledged his resolve to fix the problems.
We will adequately resource the independent constitutional bodies, will revitalize media freedoms, and hold regular stakeholder engagements and presidential media encounters in the Flagstaff House. And will release a report on the state of human rights, corruption, and our governance to serve as a guide for the government to know whether we're on the right track regarding issues of governance.
He assured that all looted state resources will be recovered through investigations.
You have heard about Operation Recover All the Loot. This is going to be one of our tools to combat corruption and make it a high-risk endeavor for any person. Operation Recover All the Loot will investigate, prosecute, and recover the proceeds of corruption using both local and foreign investigative expertise to achieve this objective. We will strongly support the Auditor General to enforce the surcharge powers to retrieve embezzled funds with interest.
The next NDC government will also introduce cross-cutting policies while scrapping the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources. The peace of the country will be paramount under John Dramani Mahama, with the lingering Baku ethnic conflict resolved. The NDC presidential candidate appealed to the electorate to reject the NPP at the polls, explaining that their pledge to protect the public purse has been a mirage.
For Ghana to be successful again, there's an urgent need for a reset of our governance and our democratic systems. This can only happen if this current NPP government is rejected at the polls of 7th December 2024. The simple fact is that a vote for Bawumia will be a disastrous third-term vote for Akufo-Addo and his corrupt friends and family administration.
Stanley Niblewu brought us that report. We can now tell you a bit more of what John Dramani Mahama was saying at that governance forum. And now take us through what there is to know. What else did he talk about? And so, a governance forum, stakeholders invited, amongst many other things. We've heard some of the things come up in that story by Stanley. And on combating corruption and governance, he's promised a meritorious appointment, respect principles of the separation of powers, and that's come up quite strongly recently following this back and forth about interpretation of Article 97G and H and the likes. And so a respect for the principles of separation of powers has become important as well. Resource constitutional bodies set up a governance advisory council, Operation Recover All Loot. That's become famous for a lot of the NDC youth wing who continue to trumpet that they will recover all stolen funds. Also, Independent Value for Money Office will scrutinize government procurement above $5 million or as Parliament may determine. And so these are corruption measures to ensure that graft does not continue to be a thing, a lucrative business for him or in his government. Now, in terms of justice delivery, he says that he will depoliticize the administration of justice and respect the independence of the judiciary. There's a lot of question in relation to this and depoliticizing the judiciary, but we know his position on the judiciary currently and the comment he's been making in that regard. And so it's not really surprising he brings that up here. Also, establishing courts within the precincts of
other prisons will ensure that prisoners are treated fairly. That's a huge welcome because of the Justice for All program and the difficulties for persons who've been wrongfully incarcerated. And then comes to public safety and security, what his promises and plans are to establish new military installations and also focus on border areas and the new regions to prevent terrorist attacks and ensure rapid response. And on responsible mining, conversation on Galamsey just will not go away. Engage the large mining companies to seed and release abandoned shafts, pits, or areas for licensed small-scale miners to exploit, and also land reclamation under the Tree for Life and Blue Water initiatives. These we've heard before. And so perhaps on the assurance note where he says that, let me reassure you that we shall build resilient relationships with citizens and our social partners and create room for unfiltered and uncensored encounters between me, my vice president to be Professor J. Nano Pokwa-Jiman, and moral society. And so just brief highlights really of John Mahama and what he's been saying yesterday from that event.
Absolutely. We can now turn attention to some other stories now. The NPP running mate, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, says the government has invested over $1 billion in transforming technical and vocational education and training, TVET, over the last few years. This, he believes, a future government led by Dr. Muhammad Obame will make TVET more appealing to every Ghanaian child by equipping it with innovative tools. He said this in Cape Coast during the investiture of Dr. James Kondua Lindsay Orleans as the first Chancellor of Cape Coast Technical University.
Speaking at the investiture, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh hinted that a future government under the leadership of Dr. Bawumia is committed to advancing technical and vocational education and training. He emphasized that it is crucial in the pursuit of full participation in the fourth industrial revolution, driving collective growth and prosperity.
I can say without equivocation that His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's government that will come after 7 January 2025 would transform and ensure the first place every child will want to be is technical, vocational education and training, by collaborating with counterpart technical universities elsewhere. And I know that you will take it to a different level.
Dr. Opoku-Prempeh commended Dr. Orleans Lindsay's business acumen, particularly in real estate, expressing confidence that his leadership would drive Cape Coast Technical University towards positive transformation.
I am confident that this elevation is thoroughly deserving and that you will rise to the occasion and help lift this institution to become one of the best in the country. Anytime we elevate a Ghanaian who has prospered, it inspires others to also do better.
According to the Deputy Minister of Education in charge of TVET, Professor Kingsley Nyako, the government would continue to prioritize education as the most crucial factor in national development. He further noted that nations that have developed and continue to progress and prosper are those that prioritized education and made industrialization a core component of development.
We have to work together as a team to change the destiny of this university. I therefore call on all the respective faculties and other staff to motivate, inspire and mentor our students with all seriousness and tenacity, bearing in mind the strategic trust of our university. I urge you to live by the mantra of institutional excellence and to cultivate the virtues of fairness, honesty and transparency.
A globally respected TEDx speaker and business mogul, Dr. Orleans Lindsay, ranks among Ghana's most cherished business leaders. Ekuya Ofriwa Dakon, TV3 News.
This is still News Central here on TV3. We'll be right back after the break. Don't go away.
Nana, who are you voting for this year?
How about area? As for this question, you need not ask. John Mahama and the NDC, of course. Who else? You know there should be a change. Maybe I should have brought my to about pa.
Nana, born before computer.
Yeah,
do you still remember how to vote?
I am so sharp. On December 7th, when I get to my police station, I'll take my voter's ID card to the EC officer. He will check, find my name, and give me a ballot paper. I'll inspect the ballot paper and make sure the EC stamp is at the back with no other markings around it. When I get to the box, I will just inspect the paper again, search for the umbrella. I will just put my thumb in the ink pad and stamp the empty box just by the umbrella, not on the line or Muhammad's face, but in the empty box just by the umbrella. Then I clean my hand, fold my ballot paper vertically and horizontally, and drop it straight into the presidential box.
Nana, well done.
On the parliamentary candidate, I'll just stamp my hand in the empty box just by the umbrella. Now I'm done. Give it back.
Vote for change. Vote for John Mahama and the NDC.
Luckiest. Star 712 hash.
Luckiest everywhere. 8K. Hey, you can get an 8K. Get that packing so you have to one line. Hey, wait.
You can put it on his tab. This is my man.
Good luck. Hey, Bill Radio. We are star 712. It's much more phone. I'm on dialing the magic numbers. Star 712. Now welcome to the luckiest. And now with me at home ticket. You can buy for yourself or your loved one.
Mommy, tell mommy who's here.
You're buying for me, right?
Or who else?
Oh.
Let's choose buy tickets for others.
Love you, boo boo.
No, maybe straight to option 4.
Now we try. You need to buy tickets worth 50 Ghana to qualify.
Yes, you can buy random or preferred ticket. I'm choosing random ticket. That's it.
Listen, if you buy the random ticket, the system chooses a random number for you. But if you buy the preferred, you get to input your own preferred 5 digits. 5. Baby, give me your 5 numbers.
And how much are we buying?
Babe, look at the body and buy you.
With your body,
Hey,
there, tread cautiously.
Now follow the prompts and confirm. Now the luckiest.
The luckiest is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform, not for persons below 18 years. TNCs apply.
Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Baumia, #1 on the ballot.
The news never stops. If it's not breaking, developing, the news lends itself to significant analysis, broad context through explainers, and the features that give stories more life. That's what we offer on Weekend Central. News, features, analysis, the full package. Weekend Central, Saturdays and Sundays at 12 p.m. on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
This Sunday on Hot Issues.
Would you say that Speaker Bagbin was wrong in his decision to vacate the seats in the first place?
If I were in the chamber, I probably would have suggested to him that he should look at it again.
Is what we see today a failure on leadership?
We are demonstrating the worst part of us. For me, we are moving away from the values of Parliament.
Can we trust the current Electoral Commission to deliver a free and fair election?
Do we have any reason not to trust them?
Are you a violent man?
I'm generally not a violent man, but I'm fully in support of using whatever means to enforce the law.
Hot Issues shows Sundays at 2 p.m. on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
Mama, stop worrying. How is Kobna? I got some of his medication. His friends are raising funds to support us.
The kidney disease has taken the toll. But my son and our finances.
Mama, there is hope. The pharmacist told me about Mahama's policies on chronic diseases. John Mahama is going to establish the Mahama Cares Fund to support Ghanaians with kidney diseases, sickle cell, cancer, diabetes, hypertension, and other heart conditions to support and ease the financial burden on families like ours. Mama, but that is not all. Ghanaians can access free health care when they go to the CHIPS compound, health centers, clinics, and polyclinics. Mama, we have to vote wisely for Kobne's sake. Mama, wipe your tears. Wipe your tears. Mahama cares.
Vote for change. Vote for John Mahama and the NDC.
Oh, no, it's time for us to go.
Absolutely. But before we do that, though, we want you to follow this handle on Instagram. It's the 3news.gh handle. That's where you find all things news-related from us here at TV3, from our news cards to exclusive videos to behind-the-scene content. I'm sure you're eager and anticipating seeing Kemini all readying up for NewsCentral and then hot issues as well. And maybe Fridays on Ghana Tonight as well. I don't do too well.
We have to go. Yes, we are leaving now. Thank you so much for your company.
I am Marvin Agbeta.
And I am Kemini Amano. We'll see you same time Monday. Bye-bye.